Hi there. Today is September the 14th, and this is the third installment of MacMull's Musings. Today I want to talk about brands, and specifically I want to talk about rebranding. There are essentially two types of rebranding. The first is what I call the defensive rebrand. This, at least most commonly, is experienced when someone is sued in connection, for example, with a trademark infringement action. And in connection with either settlement or an adverse finding, they are forced to rebrand. This often can be very expensive. It's done begrudgingly, and it's certainly a place that no business ultimately wants to find itself. The second kind of rebrand, though, I think is far more interesting, and that is the acquisition, where a brand is out there and it may not be a very good brand, but it buys or aligns itself with an even better brand. And what I mean by better brand is that other brand may have better consumer cachet. It may certainly be just a stronger brand, and so is a very attractive, can be very attractive to particular suitors. In particular, I want to talk about a case study that has occurred over the last 6 months or so, and specifically that's Overstock's purchase of Bed Bath & Beyond. Overstock bought Bed Bath & Beyond out of bankruptcy, and it paid, I think, a little less than $22 million for it. Almost instantly, Overstock's stock experienced a $600 million or 65% increase. And that jump has pretty much held steady since, I think, June, when Overstock bought Bed Bath & Beyond. But of course, it's not just for purposes of increasing its stock value that there is, I think, some real value here. And Overstock provides a really interesting example, because Overstock, when it developed in the 1990s, was essentially an e-commerce platform that not only signaled bargains, but it also, I think, to its detriment, was perceived as a liquidator. And as a consequence of being perceived as a liquidator, there were a lot of companies that didn't want to do business, did not want to sell their merchandise on Overstock. And so as a consequence, I think the brand really became limited and couldn't expand into some of the areas that I think it wanted to. Certainly at one time, it was heavy on clothing, as I recall. It since has moved into the area of home goods, which is why I think the Bed Bath & Beyond purchase was just so successful for it, or has been so successful for it. And a lot of things are very unique to the Overstock example, which is, of course, that there are other available brands out there by which companies can sort of build their growth. So the value to Overstock, I think, is that it's been able to position itself, acquire a brand that had a lot of recognition with consumers, was a well-trusted brand, and allowed it to expand into an area that it really was not otherwise able to because of, frankly, the fear of or some tarnishment that came with the brand being perceived as a liquidator. So in other episodes, we will look at other issues pertaining to brands. For example, we'll talk about co-branding. We'll talk about some licensing deals that I think are worth noting. So do come back to us. Turn in again for MacMull's Musings. We're a weekly snippet that you can find online, and I look forward to talking to everyone soon.